Ladies and gentlemen, today I invite you to let go of the exhausting chase, not because you don't deserve what you desire, but because it has been yours all along, if only you dared to dwell in its reality. Desire is not a call to action, it is a call to assumption. This simple truth, though often overlooked, holds the key to the transformation of one's life. In a world driven by doing, striving, and constant motion, we are taught that the moment a desire arises, we must chase it with effort, persistence, and planning. But in truth, desire is not an order from the universe to get busy. It is an invitation to see differently, to shift within, to assume the end result as already yours. Desire originates from a deeper part of consciousness, not the surface level mind that is constantly reacting to the world. When a true desire appears, it is not random. It is your inner self revealing what already exists in potential. It is a signal that there is a version of you already living that reality. The era comes when we believe that desire is the beginning of a journey, rather than the signpost that we've already arrived. If only we would accept it. The world outside is not cause, it is effect. We mistakenly think that action changes reality. In part, yes, actions can lead to outcomes, but those actions are always born from assumptions. What you assume to be true about yourself becomes the soil from which all action and reaction grow. A person who assumes they are successful moves in the world differently than someone who is trying to become successful. One walks with certainty, the other with tension. The outer difference may appear subtle, but the inner vibration is night and day. To assume is to rest in the feeling that your desire is fulfilled. It is not to hope, or to beg, or to ask. It is to know, and in that knowing a shift occurs, not in the world first, but in you. You begin to dress, speak, walk, think, and feel in alignment with that fulfilled desire. This state is magnetic. The world, as a mirror, reflects it back in kind. But most people never enter that state because they are still chasing, still believing the desire means something is missing. Desire does not mean you are lacking. It means you are being shown something that is yours by right of consciousness. You do not need to do more. You need to be more inwardly. The only true action that desire calls for is internal, to accept the gift unseen, to inhabit the state of the wish fulfilled. Everything else unfolds as a natural consequence of that assumption. Assumption is not mere positive thinking or pretending. It is identification. It is choosing to dwell in a state until it becomes the only reality you recognize. From there, the world reorganizes itself. People show up. Opportunities align. The impossible becomes routine. But all of this happens after the assumption is made, not before. Until that point, every action is driven by lack. After assumption, action becomes inspired, effortless, and effective. Not because you are trying to get something, but because you already are someone. You become what you believe, not what you pursue. This distinction is subtle but life, faltering. In the modern world, so much emphasis is placed on pursuit, on chasing goals, setting targets, and constantly striving for achievement. The narrative we're fed is one of relentless movement. If you want it, go after it. But this approach misses the deeper mechanism at play in shaping our reality. It is not what you chase that determines your life's outcome, but what you accept as true about yourself. Belief is the root. Pursuit is only a branch. When someone believes themselves to be poor, unworthy, or lacking, no amount of chasing success can override that core self-concept. Their every action, even the most determined and disciplined, will carry the subtle energy of lack. They will move through the world trying to become something rather than being it already, and because the world is a reflection of inner assumptions, they will continue to experience situations that confirm their hidden belief, not their visible effort. Belief is not just an opinion held in the mind, it is a felt identity. It shapes perception, influences behavior, and filters how one interprets life. Two people can pursue the same goal, wealth, love, health, but one will succeed while the other struggles endlessly. The difference lies not in what they do, but in what they believe themselves to be. One may act from a place of certainty, knowing I am worthy, while the other operates under the hidden script of I am not enough. Life will mirror these states back with uncanny precision. People often confuse desire with belief. Wanting something does not mean you believe in it. You may desire abundance while holding the belief that money is hard to come by. You may want love while believing you're unlovable. In such cases, pursuit becomes a mask for doubt. You chase what you do not believe is already part of you, and as long as that's the case, the chase never ends. True transformation begins when belief shifts. Not when you gain more knowledge, try harder, or hustle more, but when you see yourself differently, when a person changes their inner concept from I am someone trying to become to I am already the embodiment of what I desire, their world adjusts accordingly. Life responds not to pleading or pursuit, but to conviction, that quiet, unshakable certainty that says, this is who I am now. Even the actions you take while rooted in belief carry more weight. They flow with ease, not strain. They are guided by intuition, not anxiety. The energy behind them is different. And because life is not responding to the mere motion of your hands, but to the state of your being, these actions are far more effective. You don't become successful because you ran faster. You became successful because you stopped doubting you were. Pursuit without belief is struggle. Belief without pursuit often needs no effort at all. Because once you believe something is yours, it finds its way to you through paths you never had to chase. The outer world is a mirror of inner conviction. This idea, though simple on the surface, reveals the mechanism through which reality is shaped. We often look at the circumstances around us and believe they are random, dictated by luck, fate, or external forces beyond our control. But what we see, experience, and encounter is nothing more than a reflection of the convictions we hold within, often unconsciously. It is not that the world imposes itself on us, but rather that it conforms itself to the image we carry in our hearts and minds. Conviction is not mere thought. It is deeper than intellectual agreement. It is what you accept as true without question, even if you've never voiced it. It lives not in your spoken intentions, but in your reactions, your expectations, your sense of identity. If you truly believe that life is hard, that people can't be trusted, or that success is reserved for others, then your world will keep proving those ideas to be valid, not because they are objectively true, but because your inner world insists on them. Like a mirror that has no choice but to reflect what stands before it, the outer world bends itself to your internal state. This mirroring principle is not punishment or reward, it is law. The world is neutral until you give it meaning. Your dominant state of being impresses itself onto the canvas of life. If you walk through life with a deep conviction that you are unwanted or incapable, no matter how much you try to change your actions or your circumstances, the world will echo that back to you. You'll find yourself in situations that affirm those beliefs, unavailable relationships, missed opportunities, or self-sabotage at the doorstep of success. But when you shift that conviction, everything changes. Change does not begin with rearranging the outer world. It begins with rearranging what you accept as possible and true for you. If you start to cultivate the conviction that you are valuable, capable, loved, and secure, the mirror must respond. People treat you differently. Events unfold more smoothly. What once seemed impossible becomes natural, and it doesn't happen because the world suddenly became kinder or easier. It happens because your internal reality changed, and the outer world had no choice but to comply. This is why people who seem to believe in themselves experience a very different life than those who don't. Even if their skills or circumstances are the same, it's not luck, it's reflection. When your conviction shifts, the people you attract, the decisions you make, and the paths you notice all change with it. You may not even notice yourself doing things differently, but everything in your life begins to reorganize. What once seemed like coincidence now becomes obvious causation. The mirror never lies. It cannot show you anything other than what you bring to it. You do not fight with the reflection to change your image. You adjust yourself, and the reflection follows. The world works in exactly the same way. Chasing implies absence. Living it implies presence. These few words expose a fundamental truth about the way we relate to our desires and how we manifest them into form. When you chase something, you declare by your very pursuit that it is not here, not now, not yours. The energy of chasing always affirms the gap between you and the thing you want. No matter how fast you run or how hard you strive, the act itself is rooted in the idea that what you seek is missing. And the more intensely you chase, the more vividly you reinforce that absence in your consciousness. This is why so many people live in a constant state of striving but rarely arrive. They don't realize that they are energetically perpetuating a state of lack. Even their goals, dreams, and ambitions, though well-intentioned, are shaped by the assumption that something essential is out of reach. So they work, plan, hope, hustle, and pray. Yet the fulfillment keeps slipping just beyond the horizon. It's not because their desires are wrong or too big. It's because their state of being contradicts the very thing they're trying to create. Living it, on the other hand, means entering the state of the wish fulfilled. It means accepting the feeling of already having what you once sought. This is not delusion, it is alignment. It is stepping into a version of yourself who no longer needs to chase, because what was once future has become present. In this state, you think from the desire, not of it. You no longer look up at it from a distance. You speak as the one who knows it, who owns it, who walks with it. Presence is magnetic. When you embody the energy of already having, life begins to mirror that internal truth. Circumstances shift. People respond differently. Opportunities that seemed hidden reveal themselves. But it is not because you willed them into place. It is because you removed the contradiction between your desire and your state of being. You stopped broadcasting the signal of absence and began radiating the reality of presence. This shift doesn't require physical action. It requires inner movement. It means feeling now what you would feel if the thing were already yours. If it's peace, feel peace. If it's confidence, wear it inwardly. If it's love, let yourself be soaked in the knowing that you are already loved. In doing so, you move from longing to receiving, from separation to union. The world responds not to your need, but to your embodiment. It answers the state you dwell in, and when you live as if it's already yours, you create the conditions for it to arrive naturally, almost effortlessly. What you were chasing begins to approach you, not because you forced it, but because you became the version of yourself who no longer needs to chase. The irony is that when you stop needing it, it starts needing you. Because now you are living it, and presence always calls forth its reflection. Feel the wish fulfilled. This is the magnetic state. It is not the striving, the planning, or even the hard work that draws your desires to you. It is the asterisk feeling asterisk that they are already yours. This inner sensation, this subtle but powerful shift in consciousness, is the true magnetism behind all manifestation. When you feel the wish fulfilled, you no longer operate from a sense of lack or separation. You have stepped into the state of already having, already being, already living what you once only longed for, and it is this inner reality that begins to mold and shape the outer world to match. Most people wait for external evidence before giving themselves permission to feel successful, loved, secure, or abundant. But by doing so, they tie their emotional state to circumstances, which keeps them locked in the same loop. The magnetic state does the opposite. It says, feel it now not because it's in front of you, but because it is asterisk true within you. Asterisk, that inner feeling then becomes the seed from which the external evidence grows. This feeling is not a mere daydream or surface-level visualization. It is a full-bodied inner knowing. It's when you close your eyes and allow yourself to fully enter the scene of your fulfilled desire, not as a spectator, but as the main character. You walk through it, breathe in it, speak from it. You do not hope for it or wish for it. You asterisk no asterisk it. In this inner state, the lines between imagination and reality begin to blur, and the subconscious mind, which cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically real, accepts it as fact. And once the subconscious accepts something as real, it begins the invisible process of expression. The right people show up, the right ideas arrive, the right conditions emerge, not because you manipulated the outside world, but because you shifted your inner state to match what you desired. You became magnetic to it, just as a radio must be tuned to a specific frequency to receive a signal. Your inner world must match the emotional frequency of your desire to draw it in. Feeling the wish fulfilled is an act of faith, yes, but it is also an act of alignment. You are not pretending, you are preparing. You are not lying to yourself. You are living from the truth of the unseen, and the more natural this state feels, the closer it comes into form. Doubt, impatience, and analysis weaken the magnetic pull, because they are rooted in the absence of the thing. But confidence, gratitude, and calm expectancy strengthen it, because they arise from presence. This magnetic state doesn't just bring the desire to you, it changes you. You begin to think, act, and carry yourself as the version of you who already has it. That version attracts with ease, not effort. The outer world simply reflects what you've accepted and embodied within. The wish is no longer something you wait, for it is something you live in. And what you live in, you inevitably see. Stillness is not laziness. It is alignment with the invisible currents. In a world obsessed with motion, productivity, and the appearance of constant activity, stillness is often misunderstood. It is mistaken for passivity, for weakness, or even for indifference. But true stillness is none of these things. It is not the absence of movement, but the presence of deep awareness. It is the quiet power of someone who knows that life is not moved solely by hands and feet, but by consciousness, and that, at times, the most potent act is no act at all. To be still is to become receptive. It is to listen inwardly rather than react outwardly. It is the willingness to wait, not in hesitation, but in trust. There are currents moving beneath the surface of life, forces unseen that respond to our inner state far more than to our outer effort. When we become still, we begin to align with those currents. We no longer swim against them, nor do we anxiously attempt to control their direction. We float with awareness, allowing what is meant to come to us to do so without resistance. Stillness is the space where clarity emerges. When you stop chasing, stop pushing, stop mentally scrambling for solutions, a calm intelligence begins to rise. You start to see what was there all along, but was drowned out by noise, the noise of overthinking, the noise of doing for doing's sake. From this still space, inspiration is born. The right action, if any, becomes obvious, and it flows effortlessly. There is no strain, no force, only a natural unfolding from within. This is not laziness. Laziness is born from avoidance and fear. Stillness is born from confidence and alignment. It takes great strength to be still in a world that equates movement with progress. It takes faith to know that you are doing the most powerful work when you are resting in the knowing, when you are silently tuning your inner world to the frequency of the outcome you desire. Invisible currents are always moving, guiding, aligning, rearranging people, places, and circumstances. When you are still, you allow yourself to sync with them rather than disrupt them. Just as a seasoned sailor does not fight the wind, but adjusts the sails to catch it, the wise individual doesn't fight life's rhythms, but finds the posture that allows those rhythms to carry them. Stillness is also a declaration. It says, I know it's already done. It says, I do not need to force what is mine. From this place, your presence becomes magnetic, your decisions become clear, and your actions, when they arise, are purposeful and powerful. There is no waste, no frantic energy, just calm certainty. To the outer world, it may appear as though nothing is happening, but internally, the most profound shifts are taking place. The soil of your mind is being prepared. The seed of your assumption is being nurtured. And soon, inevitably, the fruit of your stillness will emerge, not because you rushed to meet it, but because you became the space where it could appear. Everything responds to your self-concept, not your effort. This truth dissolves the illusion that hard work alone creates results, that pushing and striving are the engines of transformation. While effort may seem to bring temporary success, it is the identity behind the action that determines the quality and permanence of what is created. Your self-concept, what you truly believe and accept about yourself, acts as the silent architect of your reality. It defines what you allow, what you expect, and what you unconsciously create. If you see yourself as unworthy, no amount of effort will convince the world otherwise, because you will continually find yourself in situations that mirror that belief. You may chase love, but always encounter rejection. You may work tirelessly in your career, but never feel recognized. These aren't accidents or the result of random fate. They are reflections of your inner state, of the assumptions you carry about who you are and what life is willing to give you. Your self-concept is like a signal broadcast into the field of possibility, and the world, like a mirror, reflects it back. The mistake most people make is trying to change the mirror instead of the image that stands before it. They try to manipulate circumstances, change other people, or increase their output, thinking that the harder they try, the more they will achieve. But if the self-image remains the same, the outer world simply reshapes itself into a different version of the same story. The patterns repeat, the lessons resurface, and the chase continues. True change happens within. When you shift your self-concept, When you stop seeing yourself as someone trying to become and start seeing yourself as someone who is the world begins to reorganize itself. Not because you pushed harder, but because you aligned deeper. If you begin to see yourself as worthy of love, love begins to appear in places it never did before. If you see yourself as abundant, opportunities begin to emerge without the need for endless toil. The external shifts because the internal has changed. Effort without alignment is resistance. But when effort arises from a clear, empowered self-concept, it becomes effortless. You no longer act to prove something or to fix something broken. You act because it is natural for the version of you that you have assumed. It is not hard work that changes the world around you. It is embodiment. You become, and the world follows. People who achieve what they desire with grace and ease are not necessarily the most talented or hardworking. They are the most aligned. They live from an inner image that says, "This is who I am," and the world reflects that back without hesitation. They don't need to fight for what is already theirs by identity. When you change your self-concept, the need to struggle disappears, not because life becomes perfect, but because you are no longer resisting it. You are allowing it to match you, and it always will. Creation is finished. It's your perception that must catch up. This statement reorients the way we understand desire, manifestation, and the unfolding of events. It suggests that nothing truly needs to be built, fought for, or even earned. Every outcome, possibility, and version of your life already exists in the field of infinite potential. You do not create your desires from scratch. You select them by aligning your consciousness with them. The work, then, is not in bringing them into being, but in adjusting your awareness so you can perceive and experience them. This idea removes the burden of striving. It places the responsibility not on effort, but on recognition. Just as a radio doesn't create the music it plays, it simply tunes into the frequency where the music already exists. So too must you tune your perception to the version of reality where your desire is already real. This is not wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is a deliberate inner adjustment, changing the way you see yourself, feel about yourself, and accept what is possible for you. The world outside does not need to change first. Your inner world must change first. Everything you experience is filtered through your state of consciousness. If you are rooted in a state of lack, you will walk through a world of limitation, even if abundance surrounds you. If you dwell in the assumption that you are unloved or unseen, you will overlook or repel love in every form because you are not attuned to recognize it. You are not waiting on the world. Your perception is simply not yet synchronized with the reality you desire. Creation is not a process of waiting for the right time, person, or opportunity. It is a process of entering the correct state. When you accept that the version of life you want already exists, your job becomes inward, to feel, believe, and embody that reality now. When you do, the external world begins to reflect it in ways both subtle and dramatic. People show up, ideas form, circumstances shift, but none of this is cause. It is effect. The true cause was your perception catching up to what was already true in the unseen. This is why imagination is such a powerful tool. It allows you to visit a reality before your senses can verify it. It gives you access to what's finished, even when the outer world seems unchanged. When you persist in imagining, not as a wish, but as a knowing, you bridge the gap between the invisible and the visible. You're not creating something new. You're accepting something eternal. The moment you fully believe it is real for you, your perception starts to adjust. You begin to notice signs, take inspired actions, and walk in a way that matches your imagined state. Creation doesn't need your help. It needs your recognition. You are not the architect. You are the witness. And the more you align your inner vision with what is already finished, the more effortlessly life conforms to that vision. What you seek is not in the future. It is here, now, waiting for you to see it. In the end, the journey is not about striving, chasing, or proving. It is about remembering. Remembering that all you desire already exists in potential, that creation is finished, and that your only task is to assume the state of the one who already is. The world responds not to what you want, but to what you are, what you believe yourself to be. When you stop reaching outward and begin living inwardly in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the mirror of life shifts. The invisible currents begin to move in your favor. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you embody. Let stillness be your power, conviction your compass, and imagination your gateway. Everything you seek is seeking you, but only when you stop declaring its absence and start living from its presence. Let it come to you, not because you waited, but because you finally *became.